Fall 2025 has arrived with a shift so sharp you can feel it not just on the runways, but in the rhythm of the streets. The biggest trends this season aren't surface-level aesthetics. They're cultural signals, psychological shifts, and reflections of how people want to move through a world that feels unstable, yet hungry for meaning. One of the dominating trends is seriousness returning to fashion. After years of irony, satire, and clothes designed to make fun of themselves, Fall 2025 is demanding dignity. Designers and consumers alike are leaning into a tone that feels grounded, intellectual, and elevated. It's less about jokes, more about conviction. Another major trend is weight in design. This isn't just about heavier fabrics, but about clothes carrying substance, structure, presence, and atmosphere. People want their wardrobes to feel like armor, something that gives them stature and confidence in uncertain times. The lightness and disposability of past seasons are being replaced by depth. We're also seeing fashion as mood architecture. The most powerful looks this season are designed to create an environment to change the air around you. Clothes are no longer simply about self-expression, they are about setting a tone in every space you enter. Fashion is becoming atmospheric, not just visual. A fourth dominating current is continuity over chaos. Instead of extreme contrasts or shock, style now flows. The collections and the streets are echoing each other with coherence, lines that feel fluid, identities that feel whole. The age of fragmented cores is fading. People are tired of dressing in costumes for the algorithm. They want wardrobes that feel like extensions of their actual lives. And finally, one of the biggest shifts is romance without fragility. Romance is back, but not the delicate, overly sentimental kind. This is romance rooted in strength, in resilience, in creating beauty that stands firm. It's poetry that doesn't collapse under reality. The biggest Fall 2025 trends aren't just things to wear, they're lessons in how fashion is recalibrating. Seriousness, weight, atmosphere, continuity, and strong romance are dominating because they reflect what people crave: stability, depth, and meaning. This season proves that fashion isn't running away from reality, it's rising to meet it. Another powerful trend dominating Fall 2025 is the rise of formality. After years of dressing down, after the reign of loungewear and ironic casualness, people are rediscovering the beauty of formality, not as stiffness, but as elegance. Clothing that restores ritual to getting dressed is everywhere this season. It signals that people are craving respect again for themselves and for the spaces they enter. We're also seeing heritage reinterpreted, not nostalgia in a shallow sense, but a deeper return to cultural and historical roots. Designers are weaving in references to tradition while reshaping them into something undeniably modern. On the streets, this translates to people choosing pieces that feel like they carry history. Clothes with memory, clothes that tell a story larger than themselves. Another trend that cannot be ignored is clarity of silhouette. Fall fashion this year rejects confusion. Instead of chaotic layering or hyper-experimental proportions, there's a sharpness in design that feels decisive. This clarity projects authority. It says, I know who I am, and I don't need excess to prove it. A fourth shift is fashion as presence, not performance. On the runway and in daily life, the most magnetic looks aren't the loudest. They're the ones that hold a room through aura alone. People are beginning to understand that true elegance doesn't need theatrics. It needs alignment between clothing, identity, and confidence. And finally, we are witnessing restraint as luxury. The wealthy, the powerful, the tastemakers are leaning into less, but less chosen with surgical precision. This restraint is redefining what it means to look expensive. It's no longer about how much you wear, but about how intentional every single detail feels. Together, these trends reveal a larger truth. Fall 2025 isn't a season of chaos, it's a season of clarity. Fashion is stepping into a new phase where meaning matters more than noise, and presence matters more than performance. This is not just a new season, it's a recalibration of how we understand elegance itself. Another trend reshaping Fall 2025 is the dominance of atmosphere over identity signaling. For years, fashion has been used to label yourself. Quiet luxury, streetwear, Y2K, cottagecore. But this season proves that people are tired of boxes. Instead, they're dressing for the feeling they want to carry into a room. Mystery, confidence, warmth, or authority. Clothes are no longer labels, they're weather systems. We're also seeing intellectualism in style. Fashion is leaning into a cerebral energy, where collections and street style feel like essays written in fabric. It's less about shock value, more about thought value. Garments are designed to make you pause, to spark conversation, to say something about how the wearer thinks, not just how they look. Another dominating theme is longevity as status. The highest form of luxury this fall isn't a rare logo, it's wearing something that feels permanent. The message is simple: wealth and elegance are measured in the ability to choose what lasts. This is why disposable aesthetics are disappearing from elite wardrobes. We can't ignore fashion's return to subtle sensuality either. After seasons of hyper-exposure, fall 2025 is reclaiming allure. The most captivating looks are not the most revealing, but the most suggestive, creating magnetism through suggestion, through restraint, through the space between what is seen and what is left unseen. And finally, a defining trend is coherence as power. Instead of fragmented wardrobes that try to follow every trend at once, the most magnetic fashion now is unified. It doesn't shout for attention in different directions. It moves with one clear voice. On the runway and on the street, the message is the same. The future of style is not chaos, but clarity. Fall 2025 isn't just a season of fashion. It's a season of evolution. Seriousness, restraint, permanence, and atmosphere are shaping not only how people dress, but how they exist. Fashion this year is teaching us something bigger. Elegance has returned, and with it, the discipline to reject noise and embrace depth. Another defining force this season is the revival of ritual in dressing. For too long, clothes were treated casually, something you threw on. But fall 2025 has brought back the art of preparation, the intention behind getting dressed. From runways to sidewalks, there's a sense that fashion is not just clothing anymore, but a ceremony. We're also seeing presence as currency. The most magnetic trend is no longer about the garment itself, but the aura it creates. Designers are sculpting pieces that project gravity. Clothes that don't simply cover the body, but change the way you occupy space. Elegance this season is less about appearance and more about atmosphere. Another shift is the collapse of fast novelty. Micro-trends that once exploded online and vanished within weeks are losing their power. Fall 2025 shows us that people no longer want wardrobes that feel like content calendars. They want style that sustains. The biggest flex this season isn't being on trend. It's being untouchably timeless. We're also seeing fashion leaning into duality, pieces and aesthetics that embody both shadow and light, strength and delicacy, intellect and emotion. Fall 2025 isn't about one-dimensional statements, it's about contrast held in balance. This duality gives clothes a sense of life, of tension, that makes them feel human. And perhaps the boldest trend is silence as statement. In a world that has been screaming for attention, the richest, most powerful wardrobes this fall say the least. No slogans, no overbranding, no chaos. Just presence distilled to its purest form. That restraint is commanding more attention than noise ever could. All of this tells us something crucial. Fall 2025 is a season where fashion has matured. It isn't chasing relevance anymore, it's setting standards. Serious, disciplined, atmospheric, and deeply intentional. These are the currents dominating both runway and street. Fashion has finally remembered its highest purpose, not to decorate life, but to define it.